This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
At 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by Mario Vijayawardena. The headlines. Sri Lanka will receive 2 million more doses of the Sinopharm vaccine next month. 71 more deaths due to COVID-19 reported for yesterday, increasing the death toll to 2,704. Several institutions, including Sri Lankan Airlines, have been summoned before the COPE committee. All types of lunch sheets are to be banned. In foreign news, the Myanmar army clashes with anti-junta militia in major city. In sports, Sri Lanka cricket has named 5 local icon players for the next Lanka Premier League 2020 cricket tournament. Sri Lanka will promote the COVID-19 inoculation drive with 2 million more doses of the Sinopharm vaccine scheduled to reach the island by the first week of July. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana said the forthcoming vaccine stock is part of a purchase order placed by the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation. Upon the receipt of 2 more shipments of Sinopharm vaccines containing a total of 2 million vials in early June, Sri Lanka extended the national inoculation drive to 12 more districts and commenced the administration of the second dose. The Epidemiology Unit's progress report on COVID-19 immunization showed that as many as 1,443,470 people have received the first dose of Sinopharm vaccines and 455,592 have been fully vaccinated with the China-made jab. Sri Lanka reports 71 deaths due to COVID-19 yesterday. The Director General of Health Services said that among Monday's dead are 38 females and 33 males. The majority of the deaths, numbering 57, are of the people in the over 60 years of age group. The total of deaths due to COVID-19 since the pandemic began last March has now risen to 2,704. The Ministry of Health says that another 2,009 patients who were being treated for COVID-19 have been discharged after completing their recovery. This increases the country's coronavirus recoveries to 209,296. Sri Lanka has thus far confirmed a total of 241,820 positive cases of COVID-19, while 29,943 patients infected with the virus are currently under medical care. The National Operations Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19 says 2 localities in Colombo and the Ratnapura districts were placed under isolation orders effective from 6 a.m. today. The head of the centre, Army Commander General Shavendra Silva, said Sri Anandarama Road in Serapura in the Kolonnava Grama Nirdhari Division and Kotavela GN Division in Godakavela will accordingly be isolated until further notice. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Get your EPF loan information and service details via SMS from HDFC Bank.
Sri Lankan Airlines, the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation and several other institutions have been summoned to appear before the Committee on Public Enterprises, COPE. Its chairman, Professor Charita Herat, said the decision was taken at the special COPE committee meeting held in Parliament today. Accordingly, the committee members agreed to summon Sri Lankan Airlines on July 6th and the Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation on July 7th before the COPE committee to review the current context of the relevant institutions. Applications have been called for the open competitive examination to recruit graduates to the Sri Lanka Teacher Service to teach foreign languages at national schools. The Ministry of Education has announced that applications can be submitted until the 13th of August. The applicants can submit their applications online by logging into the official website of the Department of Examinations. That's local news.
Now, get your EPF loan information and service details via SMS from HDFC Bank. Wherever you are, being a state and private sector employee, to obtain EPF loan information and service details, Just send a SMS mentioning EPF space, name and region to 0718 800 999. HDFC Bank, the bank for your home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Minister of Environment, Mahinda Amaravira, has instructed the officials of the ministry to take measures to ban all types of lunch sheets. Minister Mahinda Amaravira pointed out that former President Maithripala Sirisena, who served as the Minister of Environment in 2016, had taken steps to ban lunch sheets. However, the decision was not implemented properly. It has been estimated that Sri Lanka releases over 10 million lunch sheets into the environment per day. While lunch sheets decompose in the soil within 2 to 3 years, scientists have confirmed that the microplastic particles that accumulate in the soil due to lunch sheets lasts for over 200 years. That was our main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And now in Watchlight, the government has paid its attention on introducing a concessionary loan scheme for government teachers to purchase tabs or mobile telephones to conduct educational activities online. State Minister Piyal Nishanta said that they are conducting discussions with state banks in this regard. He said that the aim is to streamline school education and to overcome obstacles due to the pandemic. That came to you in Watchlight, and now in world news headlines. The Myanmar army clashes with anti-junta militia in major city. Spain pardons Catalan leaders over independence bid. The Australian mouse plague, thousands of inmates moved from infested jail. The army in Myanmar's second city Mandalay has clashed with the local militia opposed to February's military coup. The clashes are the first time the People's Defence Forces have come up against the army in a major city. The Defence Force is a collective name for militia groups that have sprung up in Myanmar since the coup. Myanmar's military junta has violently put down anti-coup protests in the country, killing hundreds of civilians. The Spanish government has formally pardoned 9 Catalan separatists who were convicted of a failed independence bid in 2017. The leaders were imprisoned after being found guilty of sedition in 2019. 3 others were convicted of disobedience but not jailed at the same time. The pardons have sparked controversy in Spain, and tens of thousands protested against the decision this month. But the government argues the move will help calm tensions over Catalonia. A mouse plague in New South Wales, Australia, has forced a jail to relocate thousands of inmates while it carries out cleaning and renovation. More than 400 prisoners and 200 staff at the Wellington Correctional Centre will be moved to other facilities over the next 2 weeks. The mice have caused extensive damage to prison infrastructure, including internal wiring and ceiling panels. New South Wales is suffering from the worst mouse plague in decades. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. The Myanmar army clashes with anti-junta militia in major city. Spain pardons Catalan leaders over independence bid. The Australian mouse plague, thousands of inmates move from infested jail. That was world news, and now in development news, 3,000 houses will be built soon for middle-income earners according to the Vistas of Prosperity and the Splendour of National Policy statement. The project is implemented on the instructions of the Prime Minister to meet the housing needs of the middle-income earners, even amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The project will be implemented at Orugodavatta, Blumenthal, Palliagoda, Kottaba, Borlaskamua, Malabe and Kandy. 432 houses have been built at the Orugodavatta housing complex, which commenced on the 4th of January. The Palliagoda housing project consists of 384 houses, and the Kottaba housing complex has 314 houses. That was development news, and now in sports news, Sri Lanka Cricket has named 5 local icon players for the second edition of the franchise-based Lanka Premier League 2020 cricket tournament, which is set to be played from July 29 to August 22nd at the Mahinda Rajapaksa Stadium in Hambantota. Niroshan Dikwella will represent the Kandy franchise this season. Dasun Shanaka of the Dumbledore franchise is the only local icon player to be retained from last season. The current T20I and ODI captain Kusal Janit Pereira, who captained the Kandy franchise last season, will play for the Colombo franchise this year. Wanindu Hasaranga, the player of the tournament from the first edition, has been elevated as a local icon player for Jaffna franchise. Danushka Gunatilaka will continue to play for the Gaul franchise. Meanwhile, former New Zealand captain Daniel Vettori has replaced Andrew McDonald as men's coach at Birmingham Phoenix for the inaugural season of the 100. Australia McDonald had pulled out of this summer's tournament because of issues caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The 40-year-old is assistant coach of Australia, whose upcoming tour of the West Indies ends 3 days after the 100 begins on the 21st of July. That was sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Sri Lankan stocks closed 0.74% higher yesterday, helped by LOLC Development Finance, Nest Sri Lanka and Carson Cumberbatch Brokers said. The Colombo benchmark all-share price index gained 11.27 points to close at 7,726.73. Turnover was 1.9 billion rupees, with 74 stocks gaining and 92 failing.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Cabinet spokesman Kehelia Rambukwalla said the government has decided to buy 100,000 metric tons of foreign rice to lower soaring domestic prices as trade controls strengthen domestic oligopoly involving in collecting and milling rice. He said that 100,000 MT of samba rice are to be imported as a tool or a method to ease the pressure on the people. Sri Lanka was looking at ways to bring down rice through a government-to-government deal, he said.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, central, Sabaragamuwa and the southern provinces. Showers or thundershowers will occur in the eastern and the Uva provinces and in the Mullaitivu district in the evening or night. Several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern province. Fairly heavy falls above 50 mm can be expected at some places in the western and the Sabaragamuwa provinces and in the Gala and Mathura districts.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. Sri Lanka will receive 2 million more doses of the Sinopharm vaccine next month. 71 more deaths due to COVID-19 reported for yesterday, increasing the death toll to 2,704. Several institutions, including Sri Lankan Airlines, have been summoned before the COPE committee. All types of lunch sheets are to be banned. In foreign news, the Myanmar army clashes with anti-junta militia in major city. In sports, Sri Lanka Cricket has named 5 local icon players for the next Lanka Premier League 2020 cricket tournament. That concludes this news broadcast.